Welcome to Tabula Rasa, bitches.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Allie. My pronouns are she, her.
And I'm Nick, and my pronouns are he, him.
And you may have heard an extra voice here today. Who is here in the studio with us?
Hi, baby dolls. I'm Jess. My pronouns are A, M, here.
Love it. And welcome to Season 2, Episode 16 of Tabula Rasa, bitches. We're thrilled you're here with us.
We are so thrilled, and we're especially thrilled to have incredible friend Jess with us in Tabula Rasa, bitches, your co-hosts. 3 of them this episode. Yes. The 3 of us are going to discuss and dissect Buffy the Vampire Slayer, a show that we all love. And Jess, we're going to find out your history with Buffy here in a second. In this episode, our dear listeners, we're going to be discussing Season 2, Episode 16, Bewitched, Bewathered... What? Hello. Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered. And yes, we're so thrilled you are here, Jess.
I'm thrilled to be here and talk about some badass bitches.
Yes.
And be with some badass bitches.
Thank you.
It's Sarah Michelle Gellar. Let's go.
Yes. Oh, Allie just sent me that reminds me. Allie sent me something from Sarah Michelle. Sorry. Not relevant.
She posted as if she was a Spirit Halloween costume.
Stop it.
It was adorable.
Oh my god.
And it was like, accessories may include, one of them was like a cocaine-filled cross, like a furry sidekick, and something else. But I was like, cocaine-filled cross? I don't know what you are referencing there. It's not Buffy, though.
Is that like personal life experience, Sarah? Like, what's
is she slipping out like a little side detail we never knew? A little peek behind the curtain, Sarah? Is this how you've stayed in the business for so long? Yeah, I was.
Egg? Yeah, why not?
I did not know. Maybe that's why the cross from Angel was so big, because it was filled with cocaine. My Angel cross is not filled with cocaine. If anybody ever sees me out wearing it, just so you know.
Sure.
I hope everybody checks in with you when they see you. Jess, we have some specific questions for you, but before we jump in, do you want to just do the classic, tell me about yourself, who you are, in what region of this terrible country are you joining us from? Give us an intro to you.
Oh, you got it. So I am Jess Liberatore. I go by the stage name Pukalukatuka, your favorite agender witch. I am personally a practicing real live witch. I actually just got home from visiting Salem for the first time, so I feel like I'm at the height of my witchdom in Scorpio season.
In touch right now. Mm-hmm.
Trust and believe. Wild.
That is so cool. Wait, okay, I have keep going. Sorry.
No. We can ask all the questions. I'm ready to field it. It was very interesting, and being my Claire sentience is kind of all over the map depending on what energy I'm dealing with. But it was an interesting time. So anyway, I'm a tarot card reader. I'm a witch, also a performer, an artist. So I do a little bit of all the arts, classic ADHD artsy person, just doing a little bit of everything at any given day. And, I was thrilled to be invited to talk about the episode. I just watched it again, obviously, so I could be refreshed. And the writing the dialogue, it is unmatched. It is unparalleled by, my brother was watching it with me, and I was like, you heard that too, right? He was like, you guys are definitely going to talk about that later, huh? It's in the notes. It's in capital letters.
Oh yeah.
So
Good.
I'm super excited for that.
So
I have a feeling it's going to be like when my mom watches spy movies and they always blame stuff on the NSA. And my mom's like, that's not even what we do. She doesn't work for the NSA anymore, but like at a time
Alan,
she did.
You can't say that about your mom. You can't tell people. Can you
It's
tell people that?
totally-
Can you
they
tell-
don't actually do the shit that movies blame on them.
Oh my
So
god,
it's
have I
completely
gotten the news
fine.
wrong?
right now? Like,
Yeah, no. It's
If our
it's
internet cuts
fine.
out, we all know why.
No, it's totally fine. But she would always, she'd always be like, she's like, that's not even what they do. That is preposterous. So I imagine it's going to be a lot of that.
Jess, I would like to know
Yeah.
what I actually don't know the answer to this question. I meant to ask you this before we recorded, but I kind of just jumped right in. Oops. Okay, so you referenced this is a rewatch for you. Tell us about your experience with Buffy. Have you seen this series before? Is this your first time watching? I will say, if it is your first time watching, we've had several guests. This is their first time watching through, and it's been super fun. Any answer is super fun. Just curious about your experience with Buffy.
you're so kind, comforting.
You're so kind and
Thank-
comforting.
It's not my first experience with Buffy. I did watch it all the way through. I came to it a little older. I was with someone at the time who was a huge fan. So one week we piled our way through episodes whenever we had spare time, and then I would also just watch them on my own. And I remember I needed to know. I needed to watch the whole thing. I couldn't just
Oh yeah.
stop. So I'm familiar with the whole series, but it's been a
Yay.
couple years since I watched it. So watching it again with a couple more years of human life experience was
It's interesting.
such an enjoyable time.
Some of it aged, some of
Yeah.
it didn't. A lot of it, I'd say, Allie and I sometimes get
Yeah.
into.
Yeah, I
Good
was gonna
faith
say
today.
Nick and I often disagree, which is fine because that makes for interesting podcasting. But yeah, that is sort of the whole. I don't know if you've listened to any of our other episodes, but that is sort of our whole point because Nick and I have been watching this since elementary school, so it's very ingrained in us. So it's really hard to see it with fresh eyes, but we're trying our best to, tabula rasa, blank slate.
Right.
So we're trying to see what I identify with all of the adults now.
Oh, yeah. Big. I like the concept and the queer, feminist who's more aware of sociological and psychological impacts of art and whatnot. Just the looking.
Yeah.
There's just so many lines that I wrote down that I was like, this is, yikes. So this was our reference for relationships.
Yeah.
This is
I
what
learned
people
how
thought
to
was
be
normal.
protective and overpossessive of my female friends. I think because of watching Xander, which is now looking back, not always super. We kind of
Oh
want to.
no, I always loved how protective you were of me.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Personally, I
but-
did not have a big brother who was big brothery, who was protective of me. Unless I die in a show, he is always really damaged when I die on stage.
Oh,
he's a sensitive little teddy bear. It's so funny. But
So
but
sweet.
it was also always really lovely when someone was bitchy and you'd be like, "Do I need to cut them? I will stalk them down and slit their throat." And I was like, "You're the best.
That does still
Yeah.
stand. I will. I may not.
I know
I may
it
not
does.
commit murder, but I will.
You have not changed."
bully them on
It's
the internet,
lovely.
which can be worse than just murdering them. You too, Jess.
psychological.
I am not always super nice to people who aren't nice to my friends. Jess, you referenced a number of exciting projects that you are up to. ADHD Royalty Unite.
Yes.
I will prompt you at the end as well, but because listenership sometimes drops off, would you like to plug anything? Any social media handles? Anything? Venmos? Anything that folks should be aware of if they want to support you and stay in touch with you after this episode?
Thank you so much for asking. Yeah, you can look, anyone who's interested in looking at more of my work, whether it be makeup and photography, performance, or I also paint. I have been starting to reignite a podcast I produced in the past, as well as get another one rolling. So everyone can go to pookalukatuka.com, POOKALUKATUKA.com, or just follow Pookalukatuka on all the socials. you'll see my spooky little face pop up, and and
And you'll
feel
be
free to
blessed
check in.
for it.
Shucks. I
It's
do
also
what
just
I
a
can.
really easy handle to remember, which is lovely.
Thank you. It's a name my mom called me ever since I was little.
Aw.
And then I grew up and found out that a puka in Celtic mythology is a shape-shifting fairy. And I was like, wow, look at my little agender ass, like being called a shape-shifting
Your
fairy.
mom knew. Your mom just knew.
Literally.
It's
Somehow.
wild.
So
And maybe, did you ever hear the show Puka?
that does sound familiar to me.
There was
Yes,
this,
'cause it's
sometimes
a horror.
I have to like look it up again because it's like there was a fever dream. My family and I stumbled on it, and it was this, there was somebody in, it's a cartoon, and it was somebody in this like moving windmill, and they all looked kind of Nordic, like maybe like Swedish or something like that. But then the windmill shot Belgian waffles, and there was either ninjas or pirates, maybe both. And I think, and there
Wait,
was
I
some
looked
quote my
away
fa-
for half a second, and I just tuned back in, and I just okay, keep going,
So-
Allie.
It's
Okay, I'm with you
'cause
again. It took me a second.
Totally, it doesn't make sense even if you were listening. And then there was, I think it was ninjas, because there was a quote my family and I used to say, and it'd be like, how can you be a ninja? You're not even Belgian. And it was just
Now that's writing.
Now
Now
that
that-
is writing.
Here I was thinking it couldn't be
So-
topped.
But like, if that whole thing is just like, okay, they're all fairies. Like if it's just like Puka, fairies, cool. Then like, maybe that just like explains it all.
That could no. Now I need to watch this.
I know. I need to track it down. Maybe I'll find it on YouTube, and we'll have to share it with the socials.
Bonus episode coming at everybody very soon.
Yes. Oh wait,
Side
don't give us
episode
more
of that.
work.
Yeah.
We'll do like a live or something. We can all watch together.
Yeah, there we go. Like a live stream, live watch.
Yeah.
I'm
Love
down with that. Because I know there was like a horror movie that came out on Hulu at one point that I think was a short that was also called Puka.
Yeah. I don't know if I think it was a full movie, but I can picture the poster for it.
Yes.
Yeah. It's got the big glowy eyes.
Yes,
And
exactly.
It sounded interesting, but I remember it didn't quite sound like what I would find scary, so I kept skipping over it.
Yeah.
But if I'm just like into weirdness, sounds like something I'd be down for.
No, totally. It's like a third of my namesake, and I still didn't watch it. So I know it exists, but if anyone has recommendations, let us know. Then
That's true.
We'll
Is it
watch
worth
that.
the watch? Tell us
Right.
if it's worth the time. There's too much content out there to waste time on bad stuff.
right, don't let me down. Don't let me be disappointed. He's
This
got
has
the
been
energy
a
for
really
that.
fun Google rabbit hole that I've gone down just now. This is really good. I'm sorry. I'm paying attention. I'm tuned back again.
No, you are good. I think I'm actually going to slide us into our summary today. As usual, we'll do our best to avoid spoilers beyond this episode, but we will be discussing this episode, spoilers and all. It's Valentine's Day, but Cordelia and Xander's romance has hit a bad patch since Cordelia is losing status as head cordette of Sunnydale High. Desperate to remain popular, she dumps Xander, even though she still loves him. Xander spies Amy Madison, did not know that was her last name, using magic to avoid doing homework. Xander blackmails Amy into casting a love spell on Cordelia so he can dump her to make her feel as bad as he does. However, the spell backfires and every woman in Sunnydale except Cordelia falls madly in love, obsession with Xander. And we do mean madly. Buffy, Joyce, Willow, Jenny, Drusilla, and every other woman, including Amy herself, fight amongst themselves for Xander's attention, with Amy turning Buffy into a rat to eliminate some of the competition. Xander rescues Cordelia from a mob attacking her, and the two run to Buffy's house. There's a scuffle with Angel, doors broken down, and ladies with axes and knives. Xander and Cordelia are seconds away from being killed by the love-crazed horde when Giles finally manages to break the spell. The next day, Cordelia's deputy cordette, Harmony, is nasty to Xander, and Cordelia tells her to shut up. She says she'll date who she wants, no matter how lame he is. Real nice, Cordy. The two walk away together again. This summary was adapted from our friends at Buffy Guide.
Yeah, man, friends, there is a good bit to unpack here. I have
Like, for starters,
So
the title
much.
is missing an Oxford comma. Just gonna put that
Ooh.
out there.
I'm glad you noticed that, Allie, because as
sure
I
did.
was typing the episode into the various places in our summary and in our Google Drive like folder mechanism, I kept adding in the Oxford comma. And like you
Do it.
said, there is no Oxford comma in the official documentation.
Do it. I don't care about officialness when it comes to Oxford commas. Add it in.
Jess, do you have strong feelings on the Oxford comma?
I'm feeling like a little not filled in enough on the Oxford comma. Like, has it been that long
So-
since I wrote anything?
So the Oxford comma
Oh God,
is
this was
when you
not
have
the...
when you have
Okay,
a
keep
list
going,
of
Allie. We
when
got
you have
Allie
a list
started.
of things.
Is it the semicolon? No.
No. It is a comma. So it's
Okay.
when you have a list of things. So
Uh-huh.
like red, purple, and blue.
Okay.
You have commas after everything,
Sure.
including before the and of your last item.
Oh.
That is considered an Oxford comma. In some things, some wrong people, they don't put that last comma before the and,
okay.
but that changes the meaning. Because if it was red, purple, and blue, they're all separate items, or it'd be red and then purple
and blue.
Right.
Okay, so Allie,
It
the way
changes the
way
meaning.
you're presenting it, though, you're presenting this like one-sided thing here, and I'm fine with it because I don't really have a
Because
strong
there is
opinion.
one side.
But there's gonna be
There's the Oxford comma, and then
Okay.
there's people wrong
okay.
showing wrong different meanings.
All right. Well, when
It
we are
means something
bombed with
different.
1-star ratings from people who hate the Oxford comma, I'm gonna come to you. Okay.
I will die on that hill. I don't care if people give us 1-star reviews.
I
Die
do.
But
on
we can
top of
also
So be
move into
quiet.
our feelings on heart jewelry.
Could we just start off? Could I invite thoughts? Oh Lord, this has already gotten. I can't even ask about our thoughts on the heart necklace that we see in the opening scene because I am afraid there's going to be more strong feelings and I don't know if I can handle it. I think it's sweet, but I don't love the actual piece.
Yeah,
It's very
pretty
high school
small.
gift.
It's very high school
is.
gift. You're right.
yeah. I do think it has its like age appropriate time. Like if you get to like your 40s and you're giving this same heart necklace, maybe reevaluate and ask the clerk at the jewelry store for a recommendation.
Yeah.
But like,
Reevaluate all your choices at that
yeah.
point. I
Yeah.
think.
But like a 16-year-old boy, this is actually a very sweet piece, and it's pretty minimalistic. It's silver. Like I think it's cute.
So in this scene, Buffy and Xander are in the graveyard talking, and he shows Buffy the necklace he's going to give Cordelia, and Buffy has some sass for him about dating Cordelia.
And he returns it too, which struck me. I was like, "Oh, so you're also shit talking how difficult it is to date this person?
Yeah.
Do you
Yup.
even? So you
Oh,
don't
he's-
want this?
He's self-aware that she is a difficult person for sure. And I like so Buffy says, "I just think you could find somebody more better."
More better. I have it written down. I was like, more better. Joss. All right, bud.
Oh, the writing.
I was where Buffy was searching for something. And yeah, it's hard. It's hard to know how to phrase that. And then awkwardness, because Xander brings up, well, the one like quality person is otherwise engaged, referencing his crush on Buffy, and it's like, oh, I thought we'd gotten over that.
Yeah, we
Can you
really
stop
got to bring
bringing
that up again. Yeah, right after you showed her the necklace that you're getting for
Find
your...
a diary.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know.
Right.
we don't got to
Find-
say
find a-
everything out loud.
put
That's
it on
okay.
Find
Twitter.
some guy friends. Yeah.
Get a
put it on
Put it on
Finsta.
Twitter. Yeah,
Right, exactly. Put it on Finsta. Do some subtweets.
Right.
Like, let's just, yeah. Definitely uncomfortable.
It's a choice.
So a vampire pops up and Buffy kicks his ass, and in the process Xander gets knocked down, and as she finishes kicking his ass, she helps Xander up, and she goes, or I wrote this quote down, I don't know if it's Xander or Buffy. Somebody says, slaying is a tad more perilous than dating. No, that was Buffy. And then Xander
Yeah.
replies back, well, you're obviously not dating Cordelia.
Yeah, don't compare dating a boss bitch you are lucky to be dating with Buffy risking her life for the fate of the world.
Jess,
Seems a
something you
little
need to know
minimizing.
about me. Allie, I don't know if this is as true for you. Cordelia could run over somebody with her car and I would defend her. I unapologetically, unequivocally support Cordelia.
Like, I think she's beginning to grow back on me by this point in the story. But I don't know. I haven't worked through my own bullying damage in my heart, like my heart of hearts for that, like, popular girl. Like, I see you changing, Cordelia. I will root for you. I know once your, like, mean little bitch ass heart opens up a little bit, like, fine. But she definitely, my guard's always put up initially when those characters show up. Like, are you going to permanently be a bitch? Or are you going to have a character arc? Because,
That's fair.
Mhm.
Now, did you watch season 1 and season 2 up to this point, or did you just watch this episode?
I just watched this episode.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I was also, like, I did remember that, like, okay, she does become...
She's had growth, for sure.
Right.
She's a tricky one, but it does some push-pull. She plays with your heart a little bit. You never...
Yes.
Yeah. I
have
do
trouble
get
trusting her.
But yeah, I imagine if it hit a little close to home, it would be hard to enjoy her, shall we say, acerbic wit.
I'm just
that
like,
was-
damn, you gotta be so mean. That was a great word. That was an Oxford comma word.
That was
right
an Oxford
there.
comma word.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Zac Efron used it in an episode of Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, and that is why I know it.
That's
Didn't even know he was in
amazing.
Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. That's good to know.
Yeah, he, like, featured in an episode, right? It was one of those, like,
Sure
crossovers.
did.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Love that little blonde beauty back in the day.
He's a cutie pie. So we're at school, and Cordelia is getting to school, and the rest of the popular chicks are, like, ignoring her, and she has to, like, run to catch up with them. And turns out, somehow or other, they know that she and Xander are together. And Harmony says, "When do you plan on wearing cute little matching outfits?" That's not a thing, Harmony.
That's not a
Never
thing.
once has that happened in high school, ever.
Although
No,
they do
also-
kind of coordinate at the end, which is interesting. Sorry, Jess, go.
No, you're fine. No, I didn't even realize they coordinated at the end. That's why I was like, wait a minute.
I only noticed
Yeah,
that
I
because
usually-
it said in the
I
trivia.
usually notice.
I didn't notice that
Okay.
myself.
I was gonna say I usually notice stuff like that, but that was probably more the. But it was probably less matchy than Harmony is picturing.
Yeah, like, what are you gonna, like, wear literally the same outfit? Like,
Yeah, like a family taking holiday cards.
Right, like a JC
I think that's what
Penney
she's exactly.
moment.
I think that's what she's picturing, and I'm like, that's just not a thing.
Yeah, Harmony, that was a dumb
Harmony.
insult. I invite both of y'all's experiences from high school. I don't remember there being that much drama over who was dating who in high school. Was there a situation that we know of from high school where if somebody was dating somebody else, they would straight up stop talking? They would, like, kick them out of the group because whoever they were dating wasn't cool. Was that a thing? Or is this a TV trope that we're going with?
I mean, I wasn't in the popular circle where, like, status was a thing. I remember being really single and bitter and being like, wow, that person has a boyfriend?
Right.
Her. Really? So, like, that's why, but it wasn't like I would stop talking to my friends. Like, even if I didn't, no, my friends had pretty good taste in people. So, yeah, no, I don't know. What about you, Jess?
Okay, so there's this weird, this is going to sound completely bonkers because it absolutely is. And sometimes my life is a shock to me as well. But there was one time, my very first, like, partner ever in high school, there came some kind of drama out of nowhere about this other person that I wasn't really that close to, who started a rumor that my partner had gotten them pregnant.
What?
And I was, like, thrown because I was like, what? Like, also my parents had been separated and divorced since I was 3. So there again, some light pre-existing trauma already there.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of, like, spun off the handle. I was like, what do you mean? I didn't know anything. When did this happen? Like, we've also been together for, like, 2 weeks. Like, what is going on? What is happening?
Wow.
So, yeah. Oh, and then the baby evaporated.
Jerry,
Oh.
Jerry.
I'm
That
telling
is
you.
wild.
Wait, is that the like biological excuse they gave?
Yeah, and that's what this,
Nice.
young, again, like high school teenager came up with, is it just evaporated. It just dissipated.
Yeah.
So
America's sex education, everyone.
truly, and I was in a Catholic school too, so extra.
Oh, well, that makes that make at least a smidge more sense.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was probably, and I also was in like, kind of the lame set crew, like marching band crowd of things at the
Hey,
time.
among friends.
So-
Excellent.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're all, we know
Yeah.
the deal here.
I wasn't going to make assumptions, but I was like, I feel like, yeah.
No, that's where we were. And so that just always threw me. I was like, I did not expect any kind of drama to that extent, especially,
Mhm.
but so that's a stupid thing that happened when I was in high school.
People, yeah, it's crazy what people believe.
Man,
Yeah.
fun times.
Good stuff.
Sometimes-
It still wasn't like status though, so not
Mhm.
quite the same as this situation
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Xander.
Okay. Good feedback from everybody all around. I'm grateful for it. So
Lovely.
I think we're in. Oh, by the way, Cordelia is once again looking like a teacher with a little sweater tied around her neck.
Yes.
Yep. I mean, she looks
Looking like the same
amazing,
age.
but definitely teacher
Yeah.
for sure.
I mean, get it, girl. Crush it.
Mhm.
So I believe that we are in class, right? It's the end of
Mhm.
class.
Yep.
Everybody's getting ready to turn whatever in. Xander is getting ready to hand in his assignment, and he says, "This."
Oh, wait. Back up. So they're talking about the Valentine's Day dance. Willow is super adorable because she's excited because her boyfriend's playing in the band. Everything about Willow and Oz is just, it's everything to me because I just love Oz. And I love the quote when Buffy says something about like, oh yeah, Mom and I are going to have a great night to ourselves and we're going to watch a movie, whatever. And Amy's just like, bad breakup. And like, because of course it's the only reason you'd be doing that, bad breakup. And Buffy says, believe me when I say, I love that moment.
And we know with her sadistic killer of an ex-boyfriend, it was indeed a bad breakup. It's not ideal.
It definitely puts my my nasty ex in a little bit more perspective for sure.
Only a
Right.
little. Only a little.
Only a little.
Skosh.
Only just a skosh. I mean, he didn't kill puppies, so
That helps.
that helps.
So everybody's handing in their stuff. Amy manages to bewitch the teacher, and Xander's like, "Oh, I noticed that."
Noted.
Willow and Buffy are walking the hallway after class. Willow really doesn't want Buffy to be alone on Valentine's Day, which is so sweet. What a good friend. We're also Willow stans here, Jess.
Yep.
Always.
time.
Hello.
Yeah.
Queer icon.
Right?
That is one of the things that like I
Right?
should have known how that Nick was gay very earlier than when he came out because of how much a Willow fan he was.
It's a thing. You can't not love Willow if you're part of the Rainbow Brigade. You just
Right.
can't not.
Right. Instant
It's an
sign. Yeah,
obligation.
queer icon for sure.
And like,
Not
we'll
to
get
say that
it
I don't
later,
love
but her
Willow.
emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is actually one of the other things, other than noticing that I side with the adults, I have noticed just what a boss bitch Willow is. She's like really great at establishing boundaries. She is like really like emotionally cognizant of things. Like, so yeah, she's really strong. And I don't think I'd ever like picked that out so much. I was too focused on Buffy.
Yeah, nice people can be badasses.
For sure. 100%. So we leave class and Jenny shows up and I wrote down, anyone need a blanket to deal with this chill?
Oh, Allie,
Oh.
that's cheeky.
It was just, oof. Yeah.
Truly. And like, poor John, like someone give him love. It's so sad.
I know. Yeah.
Hug him.
And
But also like Jenny's relative, who, I mean, with like questionable morals, whatever, but like Jenny's relative also died. So also maybe like, why are you shitting on her when she's suffering too?
I totally forgot about that. You're right.
yeah, Jenny has
Yeah, and
also been
also,
through a
like,
lot here. Yeah.
She's only ever helped you guys. And yes, she was like technically hiding a part of herself, but she also didn't know the specifics of Angel's curse. So she really couldn't have prevented what happened, even if she like had been like, yeah, sup, I am from that Romani clan or whatever, like she wouldn't have been able to help stop anything. So I just like, they're all being really salty, and I just don't think Jenny deserves it.
I'm glad that you said that, Allie. Yeah, we talked about this briefly 2 episodes ago where we were like, listen, I know Jenny done fucked up, but I kind of feel like they're being unfair to her. And I still feel that way. And just like you said, I feel particularly bad for Giles, who it's like, damn, dude had a good girlfriend who he liked and it was super into him. And Giles is pretty sexy, so I just want him to be loved. This is a side note for future Nick listening to this again as I'm preparing social media, and for future Allie editing this because she might need to cut this out. I'm pretty sure that the actress who plays Jenny is like a avowed Christian, has denounced her role in an occult show like Buffy. Pretty sure she's like,
That's wild.
yeah, regrets being part of, yeah.
I really hope that's true, because that is wild.
It is somebody in this, it is a prominent character. I'm pretty sure it's Jenny, but we'll,
which would be doubly funny.
listeners,
because
if
she
you're
wasn't just
hearing
in the
this, then you
show,
know.
she was also like a Wiccan, so.
Right. Yeah, it's good stuff, right?
Or no, she's not Wiccan, she's a techno pagan, but still, she's a witch. So that's so funny.
Fun times.
Christians, man.
So, Giles is concerned for, wow, we got way off. Giles is concerned for Buffy's safety because it's Valentine's Day, and he knows that Angel tends to be particularly brutal for Valentine's Day. Giles says that Buffy should, like, stay off the streets, stay low. He says he's going to patrol and keep an eye on things. And I just have a couple of notes. First of all, Angel knows where Buffy lives, so I'm not really sure that it's does much
Is it safer?
good.
And he's been invited in, so what good is it going to do?
In some ways, maybe stay continuously moving rather than being... That's fine. Second of all,
Right.
my bigger point here is Giles is going to patrol. Okay, it's very sweet.
Valiant effort, for sure.
Is that gonna help? Giles, are you going to be any better off than the Slayer?
Well, I mean, if he kills one vampire, that's one vampire that would have lived had he not patrolled.
True. I similarly, I'm like, yeah, my guy. How can you protect Slayer? Like, that's literally her whole thing. Like, prepare her. Don't
Yeah.
just be like, go hide, babe. NBD. Like, and I get it, but like, if you're up against a battle, you're up against, like, be
Right.
prepared to fight.
Also, Angel has been to Willow's as well. We don't do any prep of Willow, because we also know that he's notorious for attacking everyone surrounding his target. So they also should have been warning Willow. I mean, really, everyone should have, like, bunkered down at, like, Xander's or something, or at Giles's. But, yeah. I wrote down a quote I thought was interesting. He's talking about how Angelus really deals with Valentine's Day. He says, brutal displays of, he would think of it as affection, I suppose. And again, just thinking back to some other questionable affection showing in my relationship past.
I was like, we haven't
Like,
seen too much brutalness from Angel yet. Yeah, okay. Yeah, fair enough, Allie.
But what he would think was affection, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, psychopaths. I hate men.
Truly.
So,
There were parts of this episode that did not help with that either.
yeah, right?
Yeah, this was a rough. Most of this whole process of having this podcast has only confirmed and bolstered my love of Buffy, and that, like, yes, I was always right. It's a fantastic show. This episode is very hard to, because just everything with, like, relationships and all of this, teens being stupid.
Right. And like that's the whole like the sex element of it. And like again, we are also dealing with not real teenagers, but like the story of teenagers. It's just all, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I started to think about consent and
Yeah.
what that. Yeah.
Mhm.
And like what you can and can't say. Like there, I know I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah,
but there are
lines
lines.
for sure.
There are lines.
But,
Yeah, you're totally right.
You know who has very healthy ways of expressing affection? Spike.
Strangely enough, yeah.
Yep. Spike actually displays one of the most healthy relationships in this series, I believe. Well, up to this point. Yeah. And he has great taste in jewelry. He gets this beautiful piece for Drusilla for Valentine's Day.
And it matches her outfit perfectly.
Mhm.
So good on you,
It's an
Spike.
excellent choice for her aesthetic. Yeah, just excellent
He
choice.
pays attention. That's the kind that we
Mhm.
like.
Yep. Yeah, he gets points for that.
Oh, the
and
heart.
That's true. I mean,
Did I
clearly,
spoil it? Shit.
no.
No, we're there, we're
I
there,
was
we're
just about to move to Angel because Angel's look has also changed. He definitely has some liner on, and like his hair is spikier than it's been.
He's very pale.
I am into all of it. The velvet shirt, yes, I'm into all of it. But yeah, let's talk about that heart.
Are you into the gift of the heart? Jess, you're a little into it. You're like, damn, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Jess, you're into it.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Allie, what do
Just
you
like
think?
up
Is
against
that
stealing
what do you
hearts.
think?
So the good or badness of a gift is based on the receiver of said gift. For Drew, that was an amazing gift. So that means it was a great gift. I personally
Period.
would prefer Spike's gift, but Drusilla loved it. So means he knows her well. That's all there is to it.
The court agrees.
The court agrees. And I don't think Drusilla hides at all how she feels either. I feel
No.
bad for my dude Spike here. Drusilla says, Angel always knows what speaks to a girl's heart.
Mhm.
Drusilla, girl.
Yeah, she is not sensitive to the feelings of her partner at all. Yeah, no, and then like Angel swoops in and puts the necklace on, and just, oof, yeah. I mean,
Just
yeah.
the shot at the end is really what the end of the scene where it like goes down to the heart and it's like that's, I just for that moment I will worth it. The whole thing is
Yeah.
worth it.
True. And then we do get to see it in the next scene. It's a Valentine's Day dance at the Bronze. We do get to see Oz rocking out, which I love. And Willow's face watching Oz is just
She looks
It's
so
precious.
happy
so happy.
and so proud.
Mm-hmm.
And Seth just Oz already starting the nail polish for any gender.
Yeah.
I think
Yup.
here for it.
I love it.
Mhm.
Yeah. A trend-setting king. We love it.
Mhm.
Yes.
For sure. And Oz is another character in this show that is displaying non-toxic masculinity, which we love. And this episode features the song Pain by 4-Star Mary. That is the song being played at the Bronze in that scene.
Episode notes. It'll be there.
So there you go.
So Cordelia walks in. She looks ravishing.
Mhm.
Cordelia better get it.
Hair even fluffier than usual and just, yeah, looking amazing.
Xander is looking around. He's clearly waiting for her.
And I think Xander looks very nice as well.
He does. He looks.
I think it's very sweet. He's very dressed up.
very dapper.
very
Yeah,
classy.
he put
Mhm.
effort into this Valentine's Day look. I almost just said Thanksgiving look. Nope, not that one.
No, not that one.
Not really a
don't
thing
know
we
where that-
encourage anymore in
No,
2022.
no, we don't. We stay away from colonialist, genocidal celebrations.
Yeah.
The Cordettes once again blow Cordy off, and my heart hurts for her.
Yeah, I mean, this is really it really is speaking to why she didn't want to date him in the first place. Because while she was harsh all those times that she was like, "Oh, I'm the one who should be embarrassed to be seen with you," but she was making a very cognizant choice for her personal quality of life. She knows these aren't great people. She knows that.
Right.
But she also knows that her life is socially better when she's in rather than out. So she was trying to maintain that as long as possible. And in a way, I understand her actions. It sucks, but I do understand them.
You see the logic in it, even if you
Yes.
don't think it was the right move.
Correct. Well, because it's also hard for me because like I would be friends with Xander anyway. Like I wouldn't be in that position anyway. Because if Xander wanted me, I would be Xander's. Done. Like that's just
His
Right.
being hung up on his friend, I'm not super jazzed about.
well. If I was just like a bystander in one of his classes, I maybe wouldn't know all of that gunkiness.
Some of his actions in this episode too, I am
Oh, yeah.
excited to process.
Yeah, but this speech he gives, I thought was actually a pretty good speech. He doesn't ramble on too long. It's not like too prepared, but it expresses his emotions, but not like overly. I thought it was a good speech.
It is very thoughtful. Go ahead, Jess.
Yeah. Oh, I was just going to agree. I do think he handled it pretty well. He was as composed as one could be. That he clearly, obviously, also knew that the situation is predicated on this social status and not actually. I mean, because he's right. Like Valentine's Day, that's the day. That's the one you picked.
Mm-hmm.
You truly did pick the worst one.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I meant his speech when he's giving her the necklace.
oh, giving her.
Oh, I
but-
think
'cause
both of them. He handled
They
himself
are-
pretty
they're
well both
both-
times. Yeah.
They're both pretty good, but he loses significant points because he uses dramatic irony incorrectly.
I was wondering that. I was like,
It's
is
not-
this an Alanis moment? Are we just all
Yes, it
90s
is.
unsure of what irony
Yep.
really means?
Correct.
And I'm sorry, I keep jumping ahead.
No, not at all.
Wait, I don't
No,
know
you're fine.
when did he reference dramatic irony incorrectly?
So he says, today of all days, what were you lacking? Dramatic irony? But dramatic irony is defined by when actions happen that are contrary to what one would expect. Dramatic irony specifically is when the audience knows what's going on. But like if you got
Okay,
into your own-
BFA in acting. Jess, what's your
every
your
so
degree?
often.
Did you know this too? I didn't know this.
I didn't remember this exact distinction. They didn't have the BFA option while I was there, so it's just a Bachelor of Science. But I have a film Bachelor of Science as well that still didn't cover the specificity of an Oxford comma or situation.
Yeah,
Dramatic. Is this dramatic irony that I went through all of that? It's
Oh.
still not.
No.
It still doesn't. See, I was failed.
Yeah, so dramatic
I
irony.
still didn't.
Like,
I thought it might be.
well, here I'll give an example of dramatic irony. So it'd be like, okay, so we're like a slasher flick.
Okay.
We know that the slasher dude, Jason Voorhees, is in the closet.
He could have been meaning. Sorry, I'm cutting you off. I know
fine.
where you're going with this. He could have been saying that it was irony that was dramatic instead of using the whole device dramatic.
still wouldn't
irony.
really be, but it still wouldn't really be irony.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, it's ironic to break up with somebody on Valentine's Day. Sorry, am I defending Xander right now? What is this? Oh my God,
You're
this never
defending grammar.
happens.
You're defending grammar. You're not defending Xander.
We would never.
Maybe.
No.
Oh, I mean, I defend Xander regularly.
I
but
wouldn't. No,
we know
Jess,
Nick
I
does
wouldn't.
not.
So whatever.
Okay, well, let me finish my example for the listeners.
You're
who-
right,
who
you're
need
right.
an example of dramatic irony. So, Jason Voorhees hiding in the closet. We all know he's there. And then the protagonist comes in and goes, I'm home, safe at last. That would be dramatic
But they're
irony.
not.
But they're not.
But-
Or yeah, so we're like if Xander
Okay.
came in and was like, "Yay, I'm so happy how in love we are," if we already knew that Cordelia was heading there to break up with him. That would be dramatic irony.
Is a dramatic irony if she already knew she was going to break up? If she knew? No, it's just that the audience knows. This is a
Yeah,
thing
it's
with
if
the
it-
audience.
yeah,
I
it's-
think
it's
the
not
audience
any
had
of
a
it.
Yeah,
clue.
dramatic irony
They
is what.
saw-
Yeah, we had a clue.
Yeah.
But he wasn't talking to the audience.
Right.
So
Direct. I got
yeah.
you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Someone
Thank you.
explained dramatic irony.
I appreciate
I hope I did
the
it right.
lesson
Well,
as well.
you
I've
know,
learned
who
about
knows?
Oxford
Who knows? We might
commas,
still
dramatic
have-
irony. Let's see what else we can get. Can we? If
Who
we
knows?
get
We'll
3,
see.
it'll be a
Maybe
real
somebody
win.
will write and be like, she was explaining that all wrong. She doesn't even, she's just like talking out her ass. But hopefully I do.
You do. Stop it. Stop it.
Yeah, I already talked about that. Queen Harmony will never reign with the same grace as Cordelia Chase.
Oh, evergreen point. Yeah,
Yes,
a few times that
trademark
comes
it.
up.
Sorry. I enjoy Harmony as a character, but you just don't even compare, honey.
The Savage comeback to against Harmony at the end of this episode is really great. One of my favorite Cordelia moments of
Heck
the
yeah.
series. So, like, throughout this Cordelia Xander interaction in the Bronze, we also have some cutbacks to Buffy at home. There's like a knock at the door and nobody is there, and it's like super ominous, and then Joyce is gone, and there's like a total jump scare at the audience when Joyce comes back in from outside. This whole little mini scene gave me total I Know What You Did Last Summer vibes. And Joyce comes back in, she has a package, and Buffy opens it, and it's a bunch of roses that says soon.
In a black box with a black ribbon.
box. Ooh, pretty ominous.
Yeah, it's all very sinister.
Sinister and like, I don't know, just a spooky little bitch. It's just like kind of hard.
I was gonna say
Wow.
in a sinister way that you would totally vibe on.
Like,
Yes.
who is this
Yeah.
stalker?
Mm,
Come
oh.
fight
Is there a heart in
Because it's
there?
also it's not one rose. It's like almost like 24. It's a lot of roses.
Right.
So in a very different context, you'd be like, oh,
Wow.
yes.
Actually, kind of
Where's the human
sensual. Yeah,
heart?
that's
Yeah.
true. Oh, that's a good
Yeah.
point.
Context is everything. For sure. So, are we at school the next day?
That's where I am in my notes. Jess, do you have anything before then? I don't want to jump ahead.
Oh, no. You're fine. I guess the only thing I can specifically, I was also thinking about the like last summer vibes with the shot. I love a good panning shot. I love a good shot
Yeah,
where something like is there and then shifts away and it's all one shot and then it's gone. Like, yes, hello, camera devices. We love to see it.
Okay, film major. I
Yeah.
see you.
Thank you. See, I learned something.
Yeah.
Like one thing.
I guess how can
Well,
I
that's
use
why
my
it's
family
lovely
studies
having-
degree here?
Having different people on the podcast because, and this is how I know I'm not a director, because I don't often notice those kinds of things. Those aren't the things that I pick up on. So it's really cool to see what like a filmmaker picks up on these things.
Yeah, because especially the shot. I'm so much about visuals being
Mhm.
in the cinematography and production on that end, like the film.
Yeah.
And so that definitely, my eyes are always like, oh, why did we cut to that? Where are we over
Mhm.
there? Why is the lighting like this?
Yeah. I can sometimes tell when it's bad, but I can't always put my finger on like, why did the flow of this movie not work?
Right.
Whereas like you would be like, well, that's because they cut in the wrong places and like they did these kinds of pans instead of,
Right.
doing a Hitchcock or
We
whatever.
had a static shot for 3.5 minutes. Like, of course we're bored. Like, nothing
Yeah,
happened.
exactly.
Like, they didn't
Yeah.
even give you any helpful visual information. Yeah,
Right.
I will go down my own full rabbit hole on camera shot choices and
I
angles.
love that.
Please
I
do.
love that. Yeah. Feel free to expand if you find more points that you picked out.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm
For
like
sure.
waiting for a certain reference to come out so I can just scream about this one. It's something that Harmony says.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I'm
go,
excited.
good.
Be
I'm excited.
even.
So we're at school the next day, and Xander tracks down Amy, and he's like, "So you're a little witch," and she's like, "Me?" And then he basically threatens blackmail if she doesn't help him because he saw the whole homework thing, and she goes, "That is so mean." Honey, is what he's saying untrue? Did it not happen?
But is blackmail the best option?
I agree.
I mean, he's not extorting her for money.
Her
But
he
it's
is
high
extorting
school.
her talent, her time, her treasure. We can't. No, absolutely not.
Her treasure?
Yeah, her brain,
gift.
Oh, her gift.
Yeah,
her,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Energy.
Sorry. That was just an interesting word choice.
I went with
I
time and
guess.
talent because I went with time,
No.
talent, treasure because that comes up in my work all the time. You're right. I'm glad you checked me on it, but I'm gonna double down on it.
No. It was just not a use of the word that I had heard.
A treasure
so
of
knowing it as
sorts.
a term, a kind of an industry term, that makes sense.
So, I had a Harmony quote written down, right before this. Jess, did we skip over your Harmony quote did you pick up on this quote too?
Oh, it may be the same one. I'm thinking of something specifically, and it's again my like production mind. It was like that was a very hilarious trademark decision that I heard you make with this dialogue. I think it's a little bit further down though. It's like the
Okay,
next
okay.
2 scenes away.
Okay.
Then it was Harmony being savage, but we've already given space to Harmony being savage. We don't need to.
No. What was the quote that you picked out?
Harmony said to Xander, "Gee, Xander, maybe you should learn a second language so that more girls can reject you."
That's right.
That's so
That
rude.
is right.
Woof.
That is so
Yeah.
rude. Yeah. Yeah. Not kind. I don't love it.
Which, like, hun, she already did what you wanted her to do. Can you, like, just stop?
Yeah. Do we
Yeah.
gotta rub salt in this wound here?
Yeah.
So, I had this question as Xander was blackmailing Amy, and as Amy seemed surprised that Xander knew that she was a practicing witch, was Amy trying to hide it? Because when we saw her hand in the homework, girl was not subtle. Xander was standing right behind her.
Well, maybe she didn't know that he was behind her because they were the last 2 people in the classroom. So maybe she just missed that she wasn't the last person.
She had to have missed it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. She just didn't realize he was behind her.
I mean, or maybe she didn't think he would just be a little punk ass bitch.
Right. Yeah. He's
And
gonna
go
be
ratting her out.
be a snitch about it. Damn.
No, the Italian in me is like, what are you fucking doing here, buddy? What do you think? You can just like run around? Like, I'm literally a witch. Are you trying to get a spell cast on
You want to
your ass
blackmail
today?
me? You sure? Yeah, right.
We'll put your soul in a jar, Tootsie Pop. Let's go.
I will trap you in a statue forever.
Snatched.
Oh, funny. That is funny. I would like to put a outfit spotlight on Buffy today. That leopard skirt and the black top. Yes. All of it.
I feel like her wardrobe is like, we're at the point where it's starting to get more and more spicy, and I'm so here for a little bit more leather coming
Yeah.
in. Yes, the
Yeah.
animal prints.
Mhm.
I'm literally wearing leather right now.
Oh, look at you.
Control
Love
myself.
it.
A leather
Love
print,
that.
too. I love that. Yes.
Yeah, leopard is. I think that's part of the '90s, sort of coming '90s, early 2000s coming back. That like leopard print is definitely, and like leopard print, like faux fur, and like all of that is becoming very popular.
I went to lunch with a woman today who had the most fabulous faux leopard purse. I was like, yes.
Love it.
Thank you. So, okay, Xander says he wants a love spell. This is where I want to set aside some space for this. He says, the point is I want her to want me desperately so I can break up with her and subject her to the same hell she's been putting me through. I'm not saying that I have wanted to put I don't know if I've wanted to put my ex people through. Okay, whatever. Setting that aside, the thought of forcing somebody to fall in love with you feels so unacceptable and violating.
I actually wrote a lot about that as a practicing witch. That is one thing that I learned very early is like you really can't go play it. And if I'm not mistaken, Giles brings it up later.
Yep.
Is like you can't go messing with people's free will. That's not a thing that you can do. It's not going to work. Even if it works, quote, end quote, in the beginning, it's not going to end well because you've taken away the natural order of things, of fate, you know? So, like, if fate finds a way, karma finds a way. If something's going to come and bite you, it's going to come and bite you. That's what's happening. So
Yeah.
be careful what you wish for, because it just might come true.
Right. I feel like it gets listed with a lot of those big rules. Like the genie talks about it in Aladdin. Like, I can't make anybody fall in love with you. That's a big one. I feel like it's in that same category of like, okay, we can, but we shouldn't.
Right.
In the same way of like
Right.
resurrection, not okay.
Right.
Like, technically it is possible, but it's not going to happen like you think it's going to happen, and you just shouldn't do it.
Right. It's ill-advised, if
Right.
nothing else.
Yeah. And it doesn't actually even end up as love. As Giles points out later, he's like,
Right.
that's not even love. That's obsession.
Right.
Not the same thing. For sure. And just, yeah, my next note is just Buffy and everything between Buffy and Xander in this episode. Just
It's cringe. Cringy. Cringy,
Yeah.
cringe.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to say about what the quote you pulled, Nick, of what Xander said, I don't feel like this hurt is proportionate to their relationship.
Say more. The hurt that Xander is feeling, or
The hurt that Xander's feeling. Like, I get rejection sucks, but like that fiery passion that like he is willing to invoke magic to hurt her,
Yeah.
to like this,
Yeah.
I want her to feel as in the hell that I'm in. All right, drama queen.
Yeah.
Like,
You've made
it's not
out
even
for a
that
few
deep.
episodes. Come on.
right, and you constantly talk about what a pill she is. Like,
Right.
are you that hurt? Really? And it's also not like Xander Harris has never been rejected before. So is it that? It can't be that.
Yeah, it does seem a little inflated. Given, like, not that I haven't maybe not cooked up a little karma spell now and again to make sure karma finds people that I feel like it should find. But even then, you know, it's just like, I just want whatever you cast upon me to find its way back to you.
Right.
So it's not really like a piling on, I'm sending a werewolf to your house
Yeah.
in the night kind of spell work. It's more like, oh, okay, you fucked around and now you're going to find out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It sounds proportionate
You'll
to what
find out as
happened.
much as you fucked around. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
The equal and
value.
opposite fucked around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all physics.
But
Yeah.
like him
Sure.
trying to pile on, like double down, I was just like, okay, I'm not buying how hurt you are. But Xander is pretty historically dramatic. So
Yeah, spicy real quick.
So,
Yeah.
Amy takes Jess's advice here and cautions strongly against fucking with free will. But she says she'll do it anyway. She needs something of Cordy's. In the middle of this, Buffy storms into the library and gives Giles the note, potentially sexy note, that Angel gave her. And
again, context.
Buffy's like, I need to know. And Giles like, yeah, you're right. We'll loop you in.
Mhm.
It cuts back to Xander. He stops Cordelia in the hallway and he says that he wants the necklace back. She lies and says it's in her locker, but she's actually wearing it. And she has this line that I think is needlessly vicious. I will always defend Cordelia. I don't love this line though. She says, it's a good thing we broke up. Now I don't have to pretend to like it.
So cold.
Yeah.
So cold.
Yeah.
Especially because she was literally wearing it. Like, their whole thing does feel very, like, kind of juvenile high school, like, tit for tat. Like,
Yeah.
well, fuck you more.
Right.
Fuck
Yeah.
you, Infinity plus one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which, like, yeah, so it speaks to maybe the accuracy of, like, this is what teens would say and how teens would act. Again, not condoning the behavior, but I suppose it does make sense. And, again, we understand just how hurt she is because clearly she's been wearing it. So she did love it, and she does love him, and yeah, but oof. Yeah, they get real nasty to each other. Yeah, they get real snippy. Not nice. Yeah.
Jess is our resident witch. Can you walk us through this next scene where they're actually casting the spell?
The ceremony was very fascinating to me. like incantations, because it was, I think, even more interesting at the end who they call upon to help undo all of the spells. But it, like, in that moment, kind of, without the actively, like, what ends up happening when the spell backfires. But using the herbs, having an incantation, like, all of those things, I'm not 100% sure what the paint.
I was going to ask what the symbols. Yeah, what is happening? Why is that? Okay, we don't know.
Right. Like, I'm not 100% sure what symbols they were using, but I do know that in spell work, sigils are basically a condensed version of a spell. It's like shapes and usually a reference from letters that creates a new shape to indicate like a stamp almost of whatever spell it is that you're casting. And there are sigils like in the Lesser Key of Solomon, when you're summoning demons or angels, like there's a sigil for each one of those. So I am assuming that all of those lines had to do with the energy that they were calling upon to cast the spell. And it was kind of interesting watching her use the necklace as almost a pendulum. Because pendulum work is also huge. I have a pendulum. I'm not the best at it, but I know people who use pendulums much more frequently. And that it was kind of, again, just the like director in me was like, oh, good. It doesn't look like your arm is moving. Like, good job. Like, good job. You're selling it. You're selling it, babe. Love to see it. So that was the work with the candle, because I also do a lot of candle work. The elements were pretty true to form, like obviously what happens isn't exactly how magic works, at least on this realm. Yeah, not as effective. If it was, frankly, I probably would have pulled a Xander oopsie at this point, but intentionally, just make everyone love me. I do,
and I think more people would be on board with witchcraft if it like so obviously had like proof of working. If it was that clear,
it was like cause effect done.
Right? Yeah. If it was that documentable, then I think more people would be on board. If you could just like, well, look at this horde of women chasing me.
Right. Into it. Let's do this thing. Yeah. No.
Which is really interesting proof of just how powerful Amy is. Like, maybe doesn't even notice herself how powerful she is.
Oh, good point.
Because the whole town is affected. Not just the people in like a small radius, not just like the other students, like,
well, even
Drusilla. Like she's affected. Like, and the fact that it didn't just backfire, like, oh, it fizzled and it didn't work. Like, it fantastically backfired.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally agree. Nick hit it on the head. That is a great point, because I didn't even think about it that way. But like her magic is so much stronger than I think she even realizes, obviously, because it's backfired pretty bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's fascinating. So process-wise, Buffy hit some points that make sense. That's really neat. Thank you for sharing that, Joss.
Yeah. No, of course. Yeah, because at the end she invokes Hecate and but yeah, it was I was like, oh, okay. Look at you. Look at you using words and people and references that are real for all of us witches out here. Go ahead, you get this one, Joss.
Does it make sense for her to invoke? I always get my Roman and my Greek gods mixed up. So confirm or correct. Are Hecate and Diana in the same pantheon?
Yes.
Okay.
They are both Roman, if I'm remembering correctly.
Okay.
I believe so.
I'm scrolling through my knowledge based on Lore Olympus.
Listen,
that's where I know my stuff from.
There's like so much of it, and they all dance and are mirrors of one another. So
yeah.
Oh, Lore Olympus. That I just
it's a web comic.
Webtoon. That's funny. Yeah. I just googled that too. So
fucking good. Yeah. Now that I've thought of that, because a lot of the Roman gods and the Greek gods are interchangeable, as in they're the same god with different names. So does that make them interchangeable in spell work?
I feel like it's really interesting at this point in time, like with society and mankind where we are.
Mm-hmm.
I find that, I don't know, in my journey, it's been really interesting. Like, there are so many practices that I admire from so many different cultures, and yet have also been, of course, navigating how to participate in parts of those respectfully and, be very specific about, just respecting the boundaries of the cultural practices themselves. But I'm also a big proponent of, like, these, I mean, and maybe it's also because I'm Italian and also fed up with our own colonialism that I'm like, fuck it, everybody use it. I don't give a shit. Call it whatever of our gods you want. They could bear to do some good stuff. So, like, please let them, like, give some recompense for everything that the Romans have put mankind through. So I find that it's sometimes more culturally based. If some people, feel more connected to Aphrodite than Venus, as sometimes I think it's just even the word. I think people feel resonance in the same way, that we all hear things that make us feel something aligned and electric and affirmed. So there are certain spells that are written that you do want to follow, more closely to the ritual at hand. But ultimately, I feel like, Hecate is, Hecate is the goddess of the moon. So she's actually also the goddess that's incorporated with the symbol.
Oh, that's so
tattooed on my
cool.
wrist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that is really cool. It goes up too.
Yeah, it's like the circles indicate like the chakras.
Is that
And
rainbow?
Not all.
Are those rainbow
is
circles?
rainbow.
Oh my god, I love it.
It works. It works both ways. For like the spiritual witchy way and also the I am very gay way. So that also still translates multiple letters.
I heard you say there's like an intentionality behind the words you're speaking. Like there's like a connection in that, like helps align the mystical forces. Is that the right way to?
Yeah, I think you're hitting the nail on the head. Like I know this is kind of like almost becoming cliche in which culture, but the idea of like spell work, spelling, like literally when you're writing words, when you're saying a sentence, it's spells, it's spell work. You're spelling. Like,
wow,
so,
yeah.
Like whatever words are impactful to you, because all of these spells were just written down by other humans, so not to say that ritual and ceremony doesn't have its place, because I absolutely think it does. But at the same time, if we were the ones who created it, why can't we be the ones who choose how it changes? So if something works for me, like even down to reading cards, sometimes I read my different decks of tarot cards a little bit differently than what is traditionally known in the, Rider-Waite tarot that most people recognize when they see pictures of tarot cards. Like, it really is about the intuition of the witch. So like trusting your own kind of spiritual, godly energy. Because I guess in my humble opinion, I also feel like if we are energetically connected to whatever these other entities are, whether it be God or gods or goddesses or whoever, are we not all part of the same energy? Do we not have somewhat of a direct line to that amount of power? We're humans. Sure, absolutely. We have our limitations, but we also are constantly creating limitations that don't have to exist a lot of the time. So yeah, I guess my personal belief is that if you feel like there are some things you want to take from over here in this spell and over here in this spell, if you want to call on the energies that are reflective of one another, like Venus and Aphrodite, like refer to both of those energies. Because also if it's a reflection of the same god, it is the same energy in my head. So just one witch's opinion, I feel like we should all have a little bit more freedom in how we practice while also understanding and respecting the boundaries of, spiritual leaders who gave us the seed of these gifts, like nurture the plant by all means, but sometimes you're going to have to trim some leaves to get the plant to grow, to get some new growth.
I feel like you're dropping so much wisdom right now. I
They do it again.
feel like some of what you're saying, this idea that okay, process is important, paying homage is important, and these things, but also we've created these rules. Why can't we, we inherited this, why can't we build on it and expand it? Applies to so many other things, other than spell work or witchcraft. There are so many, we could take that wisdom and if we could take that wisdom and improve things so much. If
Thank you.
I don't know.
I think so. I think I give pretty damn good advice now and again.
You do give good advice, Jess. Thank you for sharing your time, talent, and treasure with us this evening. And we
Thank
still have
you.
half an episode.
Boom.
Yeah.
I won't hold this up anymore with my witchy.
No, that's exactly why we had you specifically here for this specific episode.
Oh, thanks.
So we love it.
I
We are
love
grateful.
the opportunity to speak witch nonsense. So
Speak witch wisdom is what you mean. So
Yes, we're all about
sure.
reframing here on Tabula Rasa, and we don't enjoy negative self-talk.
absolutely not. We have no time for that. Toxic positivity only.
thanks, bitches. Love you.
So, Amy has officially cast the spell. And the next day, Xander walks into school with some swagger. He goes up to the table with Cordelia.
Some of that nice porn music playing
Thinking
as he
he's-
walks down the hall.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, you can tell he's trying to emulate swagger, but it's not. It wasn't super working for me. I've seen him look sexier before.
Oh, see, I saw it totally differently.
I knew you
that
were gonna say
he-
that. I knew you were gonna be like, confidence is sexy.
No. I don't think he doesn't look he doesn't look any different at all. So what I saw was that it wasn't that he was doing anything differently. It was that because of the spell, everyone views him differently. So he's
Ooh.
just the untucked, pants that are too long guy that he is, and everyone else just has sparkles on their eyes and is suddenly like, ooh, yes, I love that patterned shirt or that too big pants or whatever.
Yeah, that's how I read it too. I read it as there was, and I see what you're saying though, Nick, because he still does have this very spicy energy about him when he walks in, I cast a spell. I'm about to
Yeah.
get my revenge. And then
especially when he goes over to the table and stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's also where Small Mart comes up. I will never stop thinking about Small Mart is where they're talking about his outfit, getting his outfit from Small, and I'm like, this is wow. You guys really, you couldn't even say it. You couldn't even say all right.
Yeah, I wonder how
Copyright.
much of that was legality versus how much was them just adding even more salt into the wound. Cause it would have been
That's
enough just to say
true.
Walmart. It would have been enough. But they're adding extra spice on it by saying Small Mart.
See, I didn't give that much credit. I didn't give Harmony that much. I was like, it's.
I
Oh
mean,
yeah, I didn't
But
either.
you're right.
I was totally
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, they were gonna get sued if they
Right.
said
That's what I thought.
it. That's
No,
good though,
I-
Riley. You're right. Maybe
It could be either.
yeah.
It could definitely be either. I think maybe she's picked up a little bit of Cordy's skill at digs, because whoo, girl knows how to cut right to it.
Truly.
So he's eventually embarrassed and he walks away. In the library, Giles and Buffy are reviewing things, and Xander walks in. Giles walks away, and Buffy and Xander are talking. And here we start to see this spell really working, because it's pretty cringe.
Yeah, super cringe.
There's a joke about lap dancing.
Yes. Like what?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Well,
What?
that's pretty usual for Xander.
Yeah, not any more appropriate than normal. but- yeah.
Right, true. But that's pretty on par for the kinds of jokes he makes. What's different now is how she reacts to it, for sure.
He's kind of like stupid high school. Like, also, I feel like we don't know how to really discuss sex yet. Like, that's not really.
Yeah, so it's all a
So
joke.
it's like,
and- yeah.
lap dances. Whoa.
Right.
So,
Yeah. But he makes those kinds of jokes pretty regularly.
Well, they're pretty gross, and he should not do that.
yeah,
Um,
not
the-
advisable.
I don't know. Maybe my gross meter is different from. I don't know, Jess. I don't know what band kids were like at your school, but
Allie's like,
I
it's
re-
fine.
It's
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
there was a lot of pretending like I understood and then going home and going on Urban Dictionary and be like, what is teabagging? And
Yeah, I
Oh my
definitely
God.
did a lot of that too. Yeah.
like I became really well versed in turning a penis drawing into a butterfly.
Right. You have to be prepared for that. These
Right.
are life skills.
You know, there was often the game of how long will it take for the band teacher to notice that that is not a butterfly, or was that was not originally a butterfly on the
Right.
board.
As if they've never seen a cartoon drawing of the dick before. Like they never.
I mean, maybe in previous generations it was a different shape that they turned it into. I should ask my
That's
parents
true.
about that. I wonder if they know. Like maybe my generation it was butterflies, but maybe it was something else for others. Maybe now the kids are so woke that they don't even disguise their penis drawings anymore. I don't know.
There was someone who drew a penis, like, very classic, 2 balls, 1 little arch, and
Mhm.
like the dust on the parking garage that I was in the other day. So
Mhm.
maybe these Gen Zs are like, why are we bodily autonomy? Why are we shaming? Why are we
Yeah.
censoring bodies?
Maybe they're really. I like to
Absolutely.
think that they're all
Artistry.
really good. I like to think there's more variety now. Like it's not just penis doodles. That now, like maybe Gen Zers know how to doodle a vulva. You know,
I
Or
hope
maybe it's
for them.
breasts too and butts and yeah, maybe it's a lot. Just not. It's not just penises. Because I mean, let's be honest. Penises are funny. It's funny to draw them.
right.
I get it for
Right.
sure.
They're simple. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like until we all get more acquainted with what actually goes on in a vagina, we just need to
Mhm.
incorporate that more into
It's
the
a lot more
culture.
complicated
There
yeah.
is.
for sure. sure.
Penises are a little more fragile too. So this idea that there's some symbol of like ultra masculinity when they're actually well, I guess they are. A
no,
symbol
they're
for masculinity.
they're actually a
then.
very
Yeah, never
appropriate
mind.
symbol of masculinity.
We have devolved again, friends. Can we get back on track here, please?
Let's
All right,
focus.
if you say so. So this scene
They're
is
about
total
to
ick.
Okay, yep, keep going.
Yeah, the scene is total ick. But luckily they're interrupted. They don't kiss. What's really nice and a relief is that as soon as Xander leaves, he's met with Amy. Amy repeats a phrase verbatim what Buffy says, and he very quickly realizes it has to do with the spell. And so it's just, I'm really glad that they didn't string that along any longer than that. That was just a relief.
Yeah. No, that was. I literally have. Ooh, Xander, you did it now. Now everyone's in love with you. This is why the witches remind you to be careful what you wish for and not to fuck around with free will.
Yeah, Amy warned you,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, she did.
She did. She
Yep.
said it. You did it
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, I noticed
Son
the
of a bitch.
sad music as Amy repeated that line that Buffy had repeated, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, he did pick up on that pretty quick.
Yeah. And then we have this other girl who we've never met who comes up who seems totally out of era. The blonde chick who comes up after Amy, who's like, hey, maybe we could like get coffee. She has this like total 60s
Yeah, she's a couple
Bob.
decades off. Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, it was just like very strange. I don't know what this 60s chick is doing here.
No, it was great. I also loved I like am having a memory about wanting to mention this, but like as he was walking through too, there's like teachers and like lunch ladies like in the background, and I'm like,
Yeah.
love this, love.
Yes.
Getting right to the
I
point.
have a note. Where are the gay dudes?
Yes, I was like, okay, so this didn't work on gay men. Only straight cisgender women. Those are the only ones.
Right. Yeah.
This
That
spell-
is definitely something that would have been different had this same scenario happened today. They definitely would have had more diverse people chasing after him.
Hopefully some more diverse gender identities too, because it is
Absolutely.
like total
Binary.
heteronormative. Yeah, total
Yes,
binary.
100%.
Yeah.
And they looked disgusted too, like immediately jealous. Like, what the fuck are you looking at him for?
Yeah.
Like, all right, guys.
Yeah, kind of like incredulous. Yeah. So Xander goes home and oops, Willow's in his bed. There's another kind of ick scene here.
Yikes.
And
goof.
yeah, Willow says, "Oh, I wanted to surprise you." And
Oh.
he says, "Good job.
Yep. Good job. Surprise.
You did it."
That was funny.
And I think it's like just really setting in for him. Oh, damn, I done fucked up.
Mhm.
She's like, my first time. I want you to be my first time.
Oh.
And your heart is like,
Oh,
Willow.
God.
no.
I know. Yeah. Awful. Awful. Awful.
Especially
And then the
because like
corpse
Willow
is
the
okay
character
line?
did. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I like to. So, okay, maybe this is Allie Optimist. I like to think that maybe that's like a peek into what Willow's into.
Right, like it's Willow's kink. Like she
Yeah.
likes
Like Willow's
to be
kink
the
is
submissive.
a little. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
I could only hope.
That's. Yeah. That's my glass half full reading of that line. It was uncomfortable nonetheless.
Yeah.
Because of the whole situation compiled, but I chose to take that as a ooh, Willow's a little spicy.
Willow, maybe a broke bunny.
Yeah,
I
Who
hope so.
knows?
Get it, Willow. You deserve it. You deserve happiness and fulfillment.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, maybe the roughness comes into play with her new boyfriend. You know, like I don't know.
Right.
Anyway, very eclectic room decor for Xander. He has like some pool. I don't know what those things are called, what you use to rack the balls.
Oh,
Triangles.
Yeah, he has some of those. Yeah, well, one's a triangle, one's a diamond, so there's like it's like pool and one's billiards, I think.
Ooh.
I don't know.
I think
I
you're right.
pretend like I know things. So yeah,
Got it.
so he has like posters and like lots of like really teenager thingies, and then he has like pool stuff, and I was like, interesting.
right. It's a
Interesting.
choice. Like suddenly
Yeah.
you also are like a college for 40-year-old
Yeah.
man. Like
Right.
one of those other demographics.
Right.
Right.
Well,
Oddly
yeah.
disorganized, but not surprising to me. But yeah, eclectic for sure.
Yeah, the mess was not a shock at all.
Nailed
No.
that part in the set design.
So I think Cordelia walks into school and the Cordettes are all pissed at her. They say, Xander's wounded because of you, which was an odd line to wounded. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
The
And then
lexicon is something else.
the
Yeah,
lexicon.
some dramatic language for sure.
And I like this line from Cordelia. She says, "What does it take to make you people happy?"
Yeah.
That was
So
fun.
true. People like that are never satisfied. So Xander goes to the library and definitely mea culpa with Giles. I fucked up. And Giles says something about like, oh, I can't believe you're fool enough to do this. And Xander says, oh no, I'm twice the fool it takes to do something like this. I'm like, well, a little self-awareness. That's nice.
He also, at some point in the beginning of this conversation, mentions that like every girl in town wants him to be their quote cuddle monkey, and
Yep.
that's just permeated into my brain forever. I'm not sure if I hate it or love it yet. I hated it at first, started
Yeah.
to love it. I'm not sure where I sit on the pendulum.
I hate it being said to Giles. Like he could have just said, "All the girls want me." Like cuddle monkey feels like an
It's so
unnecessarily
specific.
Yeah.
weird way. Like cuddle monkey is what I would call Allie. I would love to cuddle monkey with you. That feels less weird to me. Cuddle monkey with you.
Yeah.
Is that a verb? I don't know. I'm going with it. That feels less weird than
Right?
Yeah.
It was a choice.
Yeah.
It's a choice
I mean,
for me.
pretty true to Xander choice for sure.
That's fair. Yeah. character accurate.
So, Jenny has hit on him, and we're not going to think about adults and teenagers here.
Nope.
Giles
That was
again chastises him and says, "Barricade yourself in here. Just stay." And
And then he barricades the door, but they swing out.
the barricade does not go great.
Not his brightest
not,
moment.
not effective.
But Buffy in that raincoat.
Oh my god,
This
Buffy,
scene-
girl.
This scene was fantasy fuel for little Allie for quite some time.
Yeah,
Oh,
Buffy
quite
was
sometimes.
looking real good here.
Yeah. Little Allie was a lot less skeeved out by this situation, was not contemplating the ramifications and implications and stuff. I was just like, this is a really hot scenario.
Mhm. Like this right here, this is sexy. I can tell.
Yeah, definitely.
Sexy stuff.
Yo. Yeah, she knows how to get it for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
And I recognize the bar is in hell, but this line that Xander says, the way he says, "No, we can't do this. This isn't the right time. This is not the right circumstances." Again, we're
Mhm.
not going to give gold stars for mediocrity, but
Sure.
True.
good 90s talking about consent and respecting our friends here,
Yep.
in my
Yeah,
opinion.
they did
Yep.
work it in. That was, points
Yep.
for that.
Yeah, definite points, and I think Xander does receive points for being able to reviews in such a situation. Given I tell the male hormone sex drive is pretty freaking strong.
Oh, yeah.
I hear tell.
That that's the talk amongst the town.
There's a comedian that says something about like, yes, I know that female identifying or all genders have really high sex drives as well, but here's the question: have you ever jerked off while driving? And I was like,
while driving.
that is while driving.
Yeah, while driving.
No.
So, and I was like, I can't think of any of my friends who have, certainly not female identifying ones. So that is my like barometer, and so I'm like, well, if that's where you're at, I imagine saying no to the girl you've had a big hard on for years now would be tricky.
Right.
So I give them a couple points for that.
I mean, they try to sell blue balls. So,
Yeah.
like, it's that serious. They've come up with
That's true.
psyops.
That's true. The
you know?
excuses, the excuses they come up with for sure.
So we start to see some of the dangerous consequences of this spell because Buffy gets super pissed, and a Slayer who's super pissed at you is probably not ideal.
Yep.
Amy walks
Which is
in,
a great line, though.
and now you have a witch and a Slayer pissed at each other. What's the line, Allie?
So Amy says something about your face, something about Buffy's face or my face or something like that, and Buffy goes, "Funny, I know what your face wants." Amy says something about knowing what Xander wants, and
Yeah.
Buffy goes, "Funny, I know what your face wants."
That's fun.
She's like, "Yeah."
I actively was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I am very interested in, well, actually, I was going to say, Slayer versus Witch. Who wins? And it's like, well, actually, we find out which wins.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate for Buffy.
But also, at the witch at me was like, that's right. What are you going to do with us? Turn your ass into a rat.
Love to see representation. Representation matters.
Empower the witches.
Hashtag empower more witches. Yeah, and Xander's quit with the Hecate.
Yes.
Fair. That's a fair emotion right there.
It's fair.
I have a fun fact here from my research that part of the reason for Buffy turning into a rat, in addition for witch representation and Amy being a badass, is because Sarah Michelle Gellar had to rehearse and film SNL, so they needed an episode where her as a character wasn't. Yeah, so she did her filming in like across 4 days or something like that. So
Interesting.
fun little
That is so
trivia
interesting.
from the internet that everything on the internet is true, so that has to be completely accurate, right?
Right. Absolutely. That's.
I mean,
history.
it could be could technically be verified if you looked up when, like, the actual date she was on SNL, and then you go back a week. That's the week that she would have been rehearsing for SNL. I'm not going to go verify it,
but if one wanted to,
if
Maybe
one
somebody
wanted
could
to,
let us know.
it is verifiable information. I love hearing behind the scenes stuff like that.
So, at Cordelia's locker, the girls get violent with her.
Yeah.
Cordelia has a line to Harmony here where she says, if you need to borrow my...
Okay, Harmony, if you need to borrow my Midol, just ask.
And then Harmony slaps her.
I wrote, clapping back while also being a generous friend. She is a goddess.
But being generous, is that what she meant by that? I guess we'll take her at her word.
Because she's being bitchy, but she's also like, but I would share my Midol. So
yeah, that definitely feels like the motivation. One to share.
Ashley just so generously interprets everything. And I'm like, period joke.
I mean, I also love a good period joke because they're awful and hashtag normalize periods.
True.
Also, Allie, bright side of everything. Before the fighting starts, Harmony has like Barbie hair. It's so thick and long, and it's that like perfect straight, that like little bit of wave. She has amazing hair. She's dumb as a post, and she's a total sheep.
Sure,
but her hair is amazing.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a Scorpio. I'm like, clearly we're supposed to hate this bitch. So I hate her. I hate your stupid headband. I hate your stupid eyeballs. Like, just everything. Just,
we all need a friend
see
like
your
this.
nose.
Absolutely.
Hate that for you.
Yeah.
Breathing? No.
The way she's breathing is really offensive to me. How dare you?
Oof, yeah.
Seems like too much oxygen going to one person.
No, see, I'm more complex than that. Like, I recognize that if Cordelia was saying these things to me, devastating. But I can still appreciate how well crafted these statements are and how, like, wow, she is an effective attacker.
Yes. Oh, I thought you were talking about Harmony and Harmony's hair still. I was like,
oh, no. I mean, yes, but that is part of me going like, she's awful, but her hair though.
Yeah, no, good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you for appreciating the nuance of humankind.
Yeah, we appreciate your nuance. I don't, but I'm glad to be sharing this.
When it's a fictional character, I'm very generous. When it's about actual people in my life or on social media, different story.
Fuck that bitch.
Hell yeah, exactly. So we're back in the library, right? We all back in the library?
Yes.
Okay, so Xander, they're trying to deal with stuff, and Oz comes in. This whole interaction between the two of them, I love it. Because he's just like, I don't even know what I'm punching you for, but you upset her, so I'm punching you. But then the whole rest of it, he's chill. And then they're like, we're trying to find Buffy, who's a rat. And he's like, oh, cool. Okay.
On it.
And just like unfazed about everything. Just, I love
Just
him.
another day.
Yep. Whatever. Like, okay. Yeah. I'll find Rat Buffy. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
And I do love Giles' daddy energy.
Yeah,
Just getting,
he's so protective.
hard daddy.
Yeah. If anything happens to her, I'll...
Yep.
Her.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Dilf energy for sure. Okay, but also, strong dad energy for sure. But also, Giles is coming down real hard for someone who fucked around with demons during his dirtbag teenage years.
You know, it's fair.
Yeah.
Fair
You
point.
literally summoned a demon to get high, get possessed and get high. And you're upset because he did a stupid love spell.
Just for funsies, because the devil always needs an advocate, right?
Sure.
Giles still didn't mess with free will. He was just trying to get high.
I guess. he got people. They're
People
high.
died.
Got
Yeah.
people dead.
Okay, never mind. You're right. Yeah, he's being a little
Although
harsh.
I do have a note later about like, okay, so how many women were injured or died because of this whole stampede and fights that occurred because of how violent things get? How many people were at least taken to the ER?
Because there was a lot of weapons that come
There
up
was a
lot of
lot
weapons.
throughout the as it
and
gets
also
They were
worse.
armed,
sheer
yeah.
numbers. I mean, I think about the people getting stampeded on Black Friday.
Yeah.
That's at least as bad as this. So,
Although they don't
Yeah.
seem to actually use their weapons.
Mm.
Like
yeah.
they don't seem to
Yeah.
very
Brandishing.
effectively.
They're kind of pulling their punches a bit with that, but I feel like someone was stomped.
That's fair.
Um,
R.I.P. to whoever was lost.
yeah, some nameless student in Sunnydale.
Lunch lady number 4.
yeah,
You
yeah,
poor
or lunch
bitch.
lady. Yeah. I did notice that this chastising from Giles seems to have a pretty big impact on Xander. He walks away like a kicked puppy, and then outside the library, Cordelia is getting totally wailed on by those gals, and Xander saves her, so
Yeah.
that's great.
Once again, showing how small Sunnydale is because they just run to Buffy's house, even though Joyce drives her to school.
And
Well,
it's
if I'm not
nighttime
mistaken.
at some point.
And it's nighttime.
Yeah.
So logistics. We'll move on.
Jess,
Sure,
I cut you
yeah.
off.
The timeline does not work. I just real quick, just needed to, I feel like, admire Willow's Oscar-worthy tears when Accordion and Xander walk out of the school and she's like with an axe, just like,
Yep.
oh, why? You could like see the tears on her shirt. And I was like, babe,
Yes.
sell it to me.
Yeah.
Sell
I mean,
it.
she is the one person who I think, like, you would only have to have a drop of this spell on her.
And she
Like, it is literally only, like, the fact that she's brandishing an axe that is outside of character.
yeah.
Because she has every right to be upset. I actually was the one defending Willow's actions when she found out about Xander and Cordy. Nick was like, she overreacted. I'm like, I don't know. I'd be pissed too.
Poor girl's got feelings. She's got a
Right.
lot of emotions.
Yep.
She's sensitive,
Yeah.
little witch.
Hey.
And she doesn't even
Yep.
know she's a little witch yet.
Yeah.
Uh,
She's got so much energy she doesn't even know what to do with.
Yeah.
and powerful energy too, it turns out.
Yep. So we're at Buffy's house.
Yes.
They think they're all safe.
But indeed,
Until-
Mommy Summers is
Yeah.
unfortunately also fallen victim.
Although my note is as if Xander never thought about Joyce.
Oh, yeah, I mean, who hasn't?
Oh, yeah,
I
1,000%. Yeah. Have you
she's
seen
looking
Joyce?
pretty
She's a smoke
good.
show. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I feel yeah.
It is.
I think there's a lot of this episode that will end up in Xander's spank bank. Like he's got to feel bad about it, but not enough not to jerk off to it.
I just don't need to think about that. The when Cordelia grabs Joyce and like throws her outside, it is so funny to me. And then she breaks the window and she goes, "Xander, honey, let Joycey in. Let Joycey in."
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Not a mommy daddy complex.
Not-
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I learned
Yeah,
things
it's-
about myself in this episode. Oh, okay. That's good.
Yeah.
No, it's perfectly healthy to express that kink with all consenting parties. Don't let me yuck your yum.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yep,
totally.
there is a difference between fantasy and reality. It's a very, very important line for sure. So Cordelia says the only way you could get other girls to like you is witchcraft, and Xander goes, "That is so." Yeah, okay, good point.
I wrote that same thing down. That's some hot tea.
Yeah, but he is taking it on the chin. He is taking the lumps.
I mean, she ain't wrong.
Nope, no lies detected here.
So they sneak up to Buffy's room. Angel swipes him out of the window,
Fully defenestrated.
and
Yes, excellent use of that word.
what did you say?
Totally.
Defenestrated?
Defenestrated? Hang on.
Yes.
Yep. Defenestration. It is the act of throwing oneself or somebody else out of a window.
Did you Google that, Allie? As you were,
No, that was
how did the two of you know? What did I miss a class?
So my weird thing is Madame Lons in middle school, that's her favorite word.
Defenestration.
And it's stuck.
How did you know
That's her-
that, Jess?
I heard it one day. Someone mentioned it to me, like in a sentence, or I saw it on TV. I just remember hearing it once, looking it up, and then ever since that moment, and that's lost on me because now my life has just been filled with any moment I possibly can to work defenestration into a sentence.
Yeah.
As
And
you
it
sh- as
so
you should.
rarely applies.
Life is divided into two parts: before knowing about defenestration and afterwards.
You got it.
Wow,
That's
thank you
it.
for this profound impact on my life tonight too. I am grateful for it.
It's also nice to just sometimes when you're frustrated, like I'm about to defenestrate my computer. Like, you know, and it just throw it out. Or the cats. Like,
Yeah.
Xena, you scratch the couch one more time. I'm about to defenestrate it.
I'm
Yes.
going to defenestrate you. Yeah.
Yeah. And I personally think that comes off so much better than using yeet.
Right?
Because synonyms, but they come off very differently.
Different effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Defen-
I feel like I want to
defenestrate is
hold
like
my
the
pinky up
business
when I
thing.
say defenestration.
How dare you? I will defenestrate you post haste.
We found our audiogram right there. Yeah.
Perfect. There's a few from this episode. You might have a lot of content for the socials.
Yeah. Okay, we're in the home stretch here, kids.
We're on it.
Yeah, so Xander is defenestrated, literally thrown from the roof, and he gets up and is fine.
Totally fine.
Yeah, that was
It tracks.
Yeah.
That's reality.
sure.
Yep.
Yeah. It gets his ass kicked a little bit here, and Drusilla saves him.
Yep.
And then
that
we
was
learn that
strange.
even the vampires have not evaded the spell.
Yeah.
Yep. And Angel says, "Guess I really did drive you crazy."
Oh.
There's a definite kiss here between Drusilla and Xander too.
Yep.
There's lip action, which I hadn't realized happened. It feels significant.
I think Xander would agree.
Xander just as Drusilla is about to bite him, she says, how do you feel about eternal life? Is that the line?
Yeah.
Great.
Something like that.
Great
Something
line.
like that.
Mhm.
The mob runs up and saves Xander, and then as Xander is being mobbed, Cordelia... There's a lot of mobs in this episode. Cordelia saves Xander from the mob.
Yep.
They run back inside, but the mob is there too. Mobs on mobs.
Yep. What was that? And then we have poor Xander and Cordy once again taking shelter in the Summers family basement.
I got a kick out of when Xander and Cordy are discussing, like, you know, like, what the hell is going on here? And he's basically like, well, I meant to cast a spell on you. And then kind of romantic music happens for a moment. And Cordelia realizes, she's like, oh, you meant to cast a horrible spell that takes away my free will.
Right. Yeah.
Me?
Yeah. This isn't
No.
good. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, oh, you were bullying me
Yeah.
because you liked me? No.
No. This is not a healthy relationship, you guys.
Yeah.
That's not a compliment. That's a
We're
problem.
taking the wrong lessons from this. The wrong takeaways, gang.
Very Romeo Juliet energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Could have gone better.
So this is going to be a hard one for them to explain. They say later they do talk about like, oh yeah, okay, I guess they bought the scavenger hunt thing. Although we also learned that they all kept their memories.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely a collective. We're just going to agree to not talk about this. Because yeah, what would you even say? Especially the adults here.
Who just became obsessed with a child. Yeah.
Right. Actively making moves on a high school boy. Like,
Yeah, we'll just all agree this didn't happen. Plead temporary insanity.
yeah. It's, you know, just another week. It's just another
That's
week.
true. Yeah, just another day in paradise.
Right.
So are we at the school again?
So
The spell has been broken.
I want to go to the little counter spell that Amy and
Yes,
Giles are
yeah.
doing. So,
Talk to us about the counterspell.
and I have a question, but I'm just
Yeah.
going to ask my question. So in the Buffy world, Giles in the Buffy world, we see a few instances where you don't have to have magical ability in order to cast a spell. Is that right, Allie, as our resident Buffy expert?
I'm sorry, say that again.
In the Buffy world, do you have to have magical ability in order to cast a spell? In order to cast some spells?
They don't really go into the mechanics of things, but it does seem that if you get the right if you can obtain all the right ingredients and you can say all the right words, you can cast a spell. Now, you could explain that away of like, lots of people have a bit of magic in them to varying degrees, and some people have better success with their spells because they know how to say the words better, or they know where to find the good, nightshade or whatever. But they don't go into it specifically. But I'm thinking there are some people who end up dabbling in magic later that do not seem to be or don't identify as witches, but they know how to cast spells.
Good way to reference the future without spoiling anything, Allie.
Thank you.
Jess, does that track?
You know who I'm talking
Can
about.
anybody be a witch?
As far as I'm aware, like, I do think it's interesting, like, the concept kind of like, clairsentience or clairvoyance, or, like, some witches having certain innate abilities. Because I do think that is very reflective of reality, where there are people who, work with certain entities or, communicate with spirits that are not in our realm, and they all see things versus hearing things versus feeling things. So I do think there is definitely an element of individuality that manifests in real spell work and real witchcraft. And then, but in terms, like, also some of us are just savants. Some people, like, just natural at anything. So I do think that maybe, like, we have, like, Amy, who is definitely like we said, even more powerful than I think she realizes.
100%.
But meanwhile, similarly, if anybody has the intention, like you said, Allie, like, about we all have the capacity to create magic. So it's like, how much is already pre-existing versus how much work do you have to put into your
so
craft.
sort of like, right, so sort of like innate talent versus skill.
Exactly.
Like, some people probably have to work harder at it to be just as effective as somebody like Amy, who is naturally powerful.
Neato.
There we go. So the spell is broken. I have an Oz quote because Buffy turns into a human, so it makes finding her a lot easier. I seem to be naked, and Oz, in just classic Oz fashion, but you're not a rat, so call it an upside.
It's very Allie line too.
Right, I do. Hey, you gotta look on the bright side. Otherwise, there's just you gotta find them. You gotta find your small wins wherever you can find them.
Otherwise, you're looking in the dark. It's hard to find things in the dark.
Exactly.
Very true. Wisdom abound. So we've blamed it on a scavenger hunt. Everybody's kind of collectively agreed that we're not going to think about it. We're at school the next day, and there's this really nice scene between Xander and Buffy. Do you want to talk about it, Allie?
Yeah, I do, because I think this not only shows maturity for the characters, but also maturity for the writers, like, of the show. And maybe this was a choice of what they decided to put their characters through versus not. But it's just a really stark contrast to the pack in season 1, where Xander's just like, la la la, I didn't remember. And we're all just like, cool, he doesn't remember. Let's just keep on going with life. Whereas this time, no one's claiming amnesia. Buffy's like, oh yeah, I remember. Yep. And she does give him, again, she gives him points of like, but I also remember you not undressing me.
Right.
So, but I'm glad that they didn't just like sweep it under the rug.
That is a good point. I went off on the pack, and I think this
Yes,
the much better way to handle this. Yeah, acknowledge
Agreed.
it, take the lessons. Oh, you're so
Yeah.
right, Allie. Good point.
I mean, it's an extremely well done show.
I can't argue with that. It's true.
Do you mean our podcast or the show? I'm just kidding. I know you're talking
Both.
about Buffy.
Obviously, both.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So Cordelia is talking with the Cordettes outside. First of all, Harmony is telling a real bummer of a story about being
Yeah.
like passed over.
I
Like being
wrote
some
that
dude's
too.
third choice, yeah, for a date.
There's
or
just
something.
2 other girls he's gonna ask first. Oh my god, sweetheart.
Babe,
Oh,
don't-
this is not a positive.
He's not that cute, I promise you.
No, there's no way.
Xander bumps into them, and Harmony has decided Xander's mom potentially working at a drive-thru is an insult. Not your finest, Harmony.
No. That one got me too. I specifically
Yeah.
wrote that down. Like, it's classist and dumb. Like, it's
Yeah.
just somehow both.
Yeah.
And not a dig that Cordelia ever would have made.
That's true. She's smarter than that. She's too smart
Yep.
for that.
Yeah, higher brow
Yeah, she'll
insults.
dig about where you shop, but she draws a line.
Right.
And then there's an epic line here from Cordelia.
Mm-hmm.
The epic sheep monologue where she says, Harmony, you're a sheep. And I love this line. She says, and here I am scrambling for your approval when I'm way cooler than you are because I'm not a sheep. I do what I want to do. I'll date whoever the hell I want to date, no matter how lame he is, because we have to end with a low-key insult.
She can't
Yep.
resist.
She does have trouble with that. But she does, yeah, it's very classic. I do love that. I'm like, here I am, because I wrote a chunk of that. The here I am scrambling for your approval when I'm way cooler than you are. That's right, bitch. That's right. You know your worth.
That is funny because I literally wrote down the part, no matter how lame he. That's the. I don't know. I'm damaged. I'm traumatized by some of the people who are like this. I was like, of course you had to say something bitchy. Couldn't
Right.
just
Yeah, you
Yeah.
couldn't just have a
be-
nice moment. Yeah.
Right.
Couldn't
right.
just give
Yeah,
the
it's
kid like one fucking moment.
Yep.
Yeah, especially as
I've
he
had
just got
to-
savaged by Harmony.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely had to, when we first started dating, give Hayden some notes on that of like, we'd be having a really sweet moment. Maybe I would have like pulled him into like kind of dance with me, and then he'd say something stupid and be like, we were having, you could have just said nothing.
You could have You could have chosen not a word. Is
Yep.
the thing.
Yep. Yeah.
And then you did it. And then
We did it
like,
anyway.
then they walk off together.
Yeah.
You know, Cordelia and Xander, and I just, again, I don't know, maybe I've also been traumatized by relationships, but they talk about how they're like, he's like, don't worry, we'll just argue whenever they're around, because she's having like buyer's remorse of standing
Yep.
up to them.
Yep.
Like, oh, I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe I shouldn't have not been popular. I don't know about this new world I'm walking into. And he's like, don't worry. We'll just make it look like we totally don't get along. And she's like, you do that for me? Again, like, you guys. This is, and then it just cut to black. We're done. That's just, here you go. Toxic relationship.
See,
We're
and
out.
I
Bye-bye.
thought that was cute. Maybe I'm not damaged enough. I don't know.
Or maybe you're damaged in your own way. Maybe there's both damage. Are we all
there's
messes?
definitely.
I need to
Oh,
call my therapist
yeah.
after this. Oh God, it's too late though. It's 8:30 at night. She's not gonna pick up.
You can text
my
her.
God.
Email her. She'll see it in the morning.
Oh God.
Listen,
no,
I was
because I
watching
saw it
Buffy,
as
had
like,
a whole moment.
yeah, I realized some new
I
things.
was talking about Buffy with
Here's
my
some stuff to
friends,
talk
and they all
about
made
next
really good
time.
points, and I don't know.
Have I ever been in a healthy relationship?
I
don't know.
thought because I thought it was really sweet that he is recognizing the reality of the situation and is willing to do that for her. The same way that like if me and my boyfriend were around my ex, I would be like, if you could touch my butt a little more and just be like super lovey-dovey and how amazing I am, like that would be really great for me. And like as a partner, he would do that for me.
Sure, but that's also not like actively having arguments in public. Like
Yeah,
that's, I feel like that's
making
that's
it his
a
parents
nicer.
if you aren't
Yeah.
together. Yeah, that's the opposite, Allie.
Right.
acting really interested in you would be a really good thing. That would be, as opposed to what great.
As as discussed, I know our trauma has made things confusing. But your version is the goal.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Certainly very quintessential for their relationship.
Yes.
And we're all kind of back to normal by the end of it after that wild episode.
Yeah.
What a Valentine's Day, man.
What a Valentine's Day.
I forgot it was all started with Valentine's Day by the end of this episode.
Yeah. Although, for Buffy, ended up not as bad a Valentine's Day as she initially was expecting.
No puppies died.
No puppies, no people were maimed in the executing of this Valentine's Day.
Yep.
She got some roses that were threatening and gave her a bit of a scare, but then she was a mouse.
Yeah.
And
then she was
at least she was safe for a while. Yeah. Well, then she got threatened by a cat for a hot sec, but then she got fine.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of getting maimed, next episode is going to be interesting.
Oh, yes.
What are our
well,
final thoughts on this episode, friends? Final wrap-ups, final hot takes, anything we haven't discussed?
I'm just personally really glad that we're onto the sex education portion of humanity. We're like working our way up to that in our American culture. This was a real spicy reminder of where we've been in terms of just sexualizing teenagers, just the whole binary of it all.
Yeah.
I'm just grateful we're here. As fucked up as things still are.
The adults involved in it all.
Not okay. Don't love that. Don't love that journey for But otherwise, fascinating episode.
I appreciated
there ended up being a lot of interesting aspects of it for sure.
I appreciated a Xander-centric episode that I ended up liking Xander more afterwards because I haven't sorry for our listeners who don't find Xander as problematic as I do. But but yeah, I mean, he like took accountability really well and made some proud choices when he like realized what was happening. And so well done, Xander. Don't mess with people's free will in the future.
Oh yeah, definitely. Please learn that lesson. Yeah, definitely not a favorite. Would not make any kind of compilation list of best ofs for sure. I do enjoy things that inspire discussion, which is nice, and that this is really good for that. And we were able to pick out some good moments for sure. It is definitely, luckily so far, in the minority of episodes that I'm like, yes, this did not age well. Because most of the stuff that, while I think they would do it differently now, I'm still pretty much okay with it. And there's some other things that like maybe they would have done it differently now, and I'm not always a fan of that. I think we're sort of in a period of overcorrecting, which is necessary, and I still think overcorrecting is better than not correcting. But I think this episode is definitely one that I'm like, yeah, exactly. There needs to be a balance, everything with moderation. So I definitely think that this is an episode that would be really, really done differently in the future, which would be a very interesting like fan film. Yeah. Like I would love to see like, okay, so the spell just affected the teenagers. Like, okay, let's make that choice. And then like what other gender identities and sexuality identities would fall prey to the spell? That could be very interesting.
Totally.
And I would have loved to see like Larry involved in this episode.
What if it made somebody realize they were gay?
Exactly. That's what I mean. Somebody was like,
some awakenings.
Yeah. Like maybe there's some people the next day once the spell's broken having like a really heartfelt conversation of like, there's stuff I have to come to terms with now. Like, yeah, there were some things that I did not expect to be affected. Yeah, like
because they remembered it.
Right. Like I still think this is a very teenage thing. Like I think that it was a bad decision, but I think it was an accurate decision to what a teenager would do.
Yeah.
Cast a spell if they had the means to do so. Yeah, I agree with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's still a very worthwhile storyline to explore. But I do think that it could be done in better ways today, for sure. I need to stop saying for sure. I'm going to cut some of those out in Descript. Blech.
I probably have to. I'm sure you're going to notice some vocal tics that I have not been aware of because I haven't edited myself very often in the past couple months. So,
yeah.
apologies.
You'll notice
If you're
mine
looking
too,
for a
and
new
don't tell
editing
me.
tool, Descript is really great because you can edit the audio or video by editing the text, by editing the transcript. And so you can just like take out all of your ums or like select which for sure's you want to take out, or if you say whatever. It's awesome. It's awesome. We are not sponsored. We could I'm Descript. If you're listening, we will happily take your money and plug your tools because I do genuinely use them.
You're gonna have to cut that out because I need people to think that I don't use as many filler words as I do, so I sound smarter than I actually am.
Oh, this is where we say, well, Nick, I actually don't edit you as much as you think. You're perfect and amazing. It's the sound quality that, yes, I do have to edit, but your speech, mwah, they're
Every word.
amazing.
Gold.
You're an editor's dream.
Oh my goodness. I don't need to contact my therapist anymore. I'm good now.
Oh, good.
Allie-
I'll go back to love bombing you. I'm good for love bombs.
Will
Save
you
the
wrap us up,
copay.
please?
Who needs it?
Save the copay,
Yes, I
true.
can-
That's $35 a pop. That's not cheap.
Right.
Yeah,
It's like a whole tank of gas.
yeah.
Yes, I can wrap this up. All right. I think that about does it for this episode. Thank you so much for joining us for today's episode, and we hope you'll join us next time when we'll discuss season 2, episode 17, Passion.
If you're just too excited to wait until the next episode to chat, send us an email at tabularasabpod@gmail.com. That is tabularasabpod@gmail.com. You can also say hello to us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok at tabularasabpod. And and we'd also be thrilled if you leave us a rating and a review wherever you listen to podcasts. It's so helpful, and we're grateful for it. Allie, I'm going to ask you for your social media plugs, please.
I'm so surprised by that question. I was so unprepared.
It's never happened, right?
So you can find me, Allie, on Instagram and Twitter at DaughterPick, DaughterPick, or on TikTok at Future Black Cat. And if you'd like to throw a hungry artist some money, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/AlliePress, ALLIEPRESS. That's also a great place to get any updates that I share about my ongoing acting journey. But if you also just want to skip all that and just send me money, I'm also Allie Press on Venmo.
And Jess, you already plugged your social media once, but I want you to do it again, please.
You got it. So, similarly to Allie, you can check TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all the apps that the kids are on these days, the YouTubes, the Twitters, the tweetings, Pookalukatuka, POOKALUKATUKA for all things Pookalukatuka.
Woo!
Dear listeners, all social media handles are going to be in the description. Jess, thank you so fucking much. It's been so great. And
It's been my pleasure. I can't even thank you enough for having me. Thank you.
Yay! Yay! Well, then we'll have to make you a season regular.
I'm in. Sign me up.
We'd be so lucky.
Yes. Because I already know there's more witchy stuff coming in season 3. So we'll
We need your
talk
witchy
more
analysis. We
about
need your
that.
brain. We need your warmth. We need your grace. We need you.
all of it.
So
Guys, I don't have to call a therapist now either.
Hey,
Thank you.
we love that.
Well, we could all go not call our therapist. That's great.
Yay! Yay! Not calling our therapist. All right, and everyone out there listening, thank you so much. We'll see you next time. We hope this helped you feel a little less like you have to call your therapist. Go out there and make proud choices. Bye-bye.
Make that choices. Bye.
Tabula Rasa, bitches, is hosted by Ali Press and Nick Mercer, with music by Inflaton Cult, artwork by Charlotte Fleming Design, and consultation by Evo Terra.